box, and it is the original box that my mother and her family brought from Russia. In this box, they carried all their earthly belongings, mainly because they didn't have a lot of things. They had an auction over in Russia before they went ahead and came this way. So this was a box they put their Bible in, probably some black bread or some bread that would keep, and probably some cheese, and that was all that was in here. And of course, a few personal documents that they wanted to take along with them. And when before they could leave Russia, they had to have a document like this, and this is the original document. What it goes to, like a pastor filled this out, and they trusted pastors at that time over there, so it was like a notary public, and it listed all the people that were coming over and their dates of birth and their ages, and what else did it have on there? That's about it, but they had to have that in order to get their passports. They had an auction and sold all the stuff in Russia, and was able to decide that they was coming to this country, the United States. So they went to Hamburg, Germany, and there they caught the ship which they came over on, and this ship is the USS Lincoln. And my mother, your grandma, has told us that the conditions are really horrible on that ship. Just about everybody was sick, and the only way they could eat anything was they had a lot of dill pickles on that ship, and they ate dill pickles. They couldn't keep anything else down, but dill pickles, whatever the reason, was able to settle their stomachs so they could go ahead and travel. I think it took them somewhere around 13 or 14 days to come to the United States. When they got here to the United States, here's where they landed, Ellis Island. And I was fortunate enough to have been able to go to Ellis Island. Christy and Greg and my wife Janice took me to Ellis Island, and one of the things I remember very, very vividly was I talked with one of the, basically I guess he was a guard or one of the personnel there, and he told me, he said, "Do you see these steps? They got these little grooves worn into them. The steps of possibly your grandpa and grandma made those steps, part of those steps, because they all had to go upstairs after their name was called, and they had to go through physical examinations. Physicals were there's something you had to do. If you had glaucoma in your eyes, you were turned away. You either went back to Russia or you went to South America. Many people who had it decided to go to South America, so there's a big contingent of Germans that went to South America. Also, this was kind of embarrassing to the women and men, because the women had to bare their breasts so they could check them for whatever they were checking for. And most of the time they had to strip clear down, and the men had to strip clear down, and they examined them, and they passed the examination. And this was a big building that had a circular building on top on the second floor, and each room had a separate doctor in it that done different examinations. And when they got to the other side of the hallway, they passed their examination. They didn't have to go back to the front of the line again or whatever. So, needless to say, they were there for a while. While they were there, my Uncle Jake, Mom's brother, got mumps, and they sent him and Mom's mom to the hospital, which was right on the same grounds, and they took care of him there, and there was about 30 days in Ellis Island before they were able to make the rest of their journey on into Kansas. Mom came over with her family in the year 1912, and they ended up in Kansas on April Fool's Day. And the uncle who was supposed to meet him, when they got hold of him and called him, they obviously had telephones there, and he thought somebody was playing a trick on him, so they did not have anybody there to meet him. But they finally hooked up to one another, and so they worked for another year, or for a year, with their uncle there, and then they went to work for the railroad. So that's the first part of our story.